Put on your helmets and buckle your chin straps for the wildest podcast held in the Steel City. Dubs and Chickenhawk will give you a taste of the past in fried jumbo.
How many nieces and nephews do a guy like you have?
Only two nieces.
That's it?
That's it. Yeah, my oldest sister was never married.
Okay.
My only sister, not my oldest sister.
Yeah, you're
right.
Yeah. My one brother has been married but no kids, and then my other brother has two daughters. One's like 31, one's 28-ish, something like that.
Right.
And
that's
it.
Did anybody marry anybody Greek? Because I'm going to the big Greek wedding thing. You know, nobody married a Greek. Yeah, because it's such a melting pot.
But we had Greek weddings, though.
Yeah.
But no, hey, you come to the States. Yeah, it would have been, maybe nice to marry somebody Greek, but no regrets. No regrets. You create a family, and it's been good.
Away you go. Right.
Yeah.
But in Pittsburgh, Weirton, like they're melting pots, just like
Absolutely.
you said, Italians and Greeks and Polish, and
Irish.
everything, Irish, and everybody assimilates one generation pretty darn quickly here, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Exactly.
We seem to be the last group that came through where there was ethnic neighborhoods that everyone seemed like has matriculated together now, and it's just people are everywhere. But there used to be certain neighborhoods where Greek or certain neighborhoods, like you said, were Polish. Or I remember it specifically. It was really wonderful. How
it was
different neighborhoods.
I mean, they still
you walk. Remember how about Biddle down here? You'd walk through Biddle, you could smell the lamb,
right?
And they would cook lamb. They're Serbian folks in Biddle.
Yeah, well, some of my best friends are Serbian. And, Serbian picnic grounds in Weirton.
Yeah.
I mean, the chicken blast on Wednesdays. I mean,
You just remember that, and then you can remember just smelling the food.
Yeah.
Because they cook the food fresh in the ovens on certain days and certain holidays for them.
Pittsburgh's famous, right? Bloomfield being a little Italy,
yeah.
Polish Hill, right?
Right.
Now those, again, like you said, I think the churches aren't, in Polish Hill, I don't think a beautiful church up there is active anymore. It hasn't been for a while.
I'm not sure. I don't.
But know. I think that second gen marries people a little bit further away from 2 blocks, and then it starts to fade away.
Yeah, it all just changes.
Yeah, it's a melting pot.
Yeah, we come together, and it's interesting.
But the thing though too is that for us, the Greek churches were sort of a centering spot. For us too,
I would think
so you have all these Greek families, and you would get families that come in, they're immigrating, so there's always somebody new or whatever,
right.
But it's interesting too. If I look at the Greek Orthodox Church today, I go to, and you wouldn't think it was a bunch of Greeks in there,
right?
I mean, it's just like we've all assimilated. Yeah, it might have been somebody that's converted, and people from Ethiopia. Ethiopia is one of the largest Orthodox communities, from a lot of the.
Did they have parishioners that went out there, or how did they become Greek?
Yeah, exactly, and they converted them. So there's a lot of Ethiopians in the church, so that you look at the church and you say it's different than what it was when.
Now, is that somewhere on the map close to Greece, across the water,
really.
or how is that?
It's in the Horn of Africa, so it's just missionaries just
went over and helped them
exactly.
That's where their boat landed, so they start preaching.
Right. So
wow, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Now, when you were in Weirton, were you a Steeler fan? Or were you a Pittsburgh fan?
It's nothing but Pittsburgh.
Right.
All Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
No Cleveland there.
No, there is no Cleveland.
No, absolutely not.
Were you in the football when the Steelers were winning the Super Bowls in the 70s when you were a kid?
Absolutely.
Yeah. I didn't know.
Those are fun times. I mean, I would say the 75 Super Bowl, I got it, but I really didn't get it, if that makes sense.
Which one was that?
That was the Vikings.
Vikings, yeah.
And I remember watching it at John Frangus's house.
Okay.
There's another Greek boy, right? I remember that game. Watching it there and with my brothers and a bunch of other kids in the neighborhood and so forth. But it wasn't until the next year that I really understood it. That was Super Bowl X against Dallas.
I remember the one against Minnesota. But
was that the first one?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah.
Minnesota was first and then Dallas.
My dad was at that New Orleans.
Was he? Your dad was at the Dallas?
And I think he only paid I want to say $15 for a ticket.
Imagine, yeah.
Bench seats.
Yeah.
And it was half full.
That was Tulane Stadium.
Yeah, half
was
full.
it really?
Yeah.
Tulane
Yeah,
Stadium.
half full.
Yeah.
Him and his buddies they rented some Winnebago or something and
went.
drank probably a lot of Canadian Club on the way down, right? Race Hill, New Orleans, and drifted home.
Yeah,
Drifted back home. Yeah, I can remember that.
Yeah. Then what happened? We took 2 years off, and then we won 2 more. Right?
Two more, right? 78 and 79.
Yeah, that's kind of odd.
And then we won. So the Pirates won in 79.
79.
Right,
so
that
we
was
were
big.
Champions.
That was when, baseball was baseball.
No doubt.
You probably listen to games on your radio.
Yeah.
On my front porch, my brother
Exactly.
and I.
Exactly.
That was our favorite gift that we ever got was that radio.
Yeah.
I used to listen to it clear till I was probably 30 years old. I'd listen to Pirate games and not watch them.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I enjoyed listening to them.
Bob Prince.
A great
Remember
memory
Bob
I had
Prince?
with my dad is he would go to ball games.
Oh, yeah.
And he would eat his peanuts and his beer, and we're all happy. I'd get my hot dog. We're good.
Oh, yeah.
What do you have to have when you go to a Pirate game? I'm the same way. I have to have the peanuts.
Me too. I love
Yeah,
peanuts.
it's something about being in a ball game.
My son's allergic, so I have to go sit somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I just sneak off and go up to the thing and I eat them and stand and eat them,
Yeah,
and
right.
throw them in the garbage shelves. But yeah.
Your dad grew up in Greece, obviously, so he didn't know American football till he got here.
That's right.
Did he become a Steeler fan too and paid attention? He knew what was going on. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah. Steeler fan, Pirates fan.
yeah.
Baseball
cool.
was really the key thing.
Was it?
Yeah, for him.
Yeah.
Oh, and I just remembered too. My uncle Mike. He actually played for the 1937 Pittsburgh Pirates
Wow.
when they were called. That was before they became the Steelers.
Oh,
do you know
I
they were
see.
So he
called-
played football.
He played football.
Yeah, he played for the.
Right?
Remember they were the Pirates.
Yeah.
And I actually have a picture of the team at my home, and he's in there, Mike Schoolis, and you see young Art Rooney right in there.
Wow.
With big ears and stuff.
Oh, really? This is wild, man.
But that sort of was part of the attraction to football too, because
Yeah.
Uncle Mike was always into
Yeah.
it, and his son Lou went to Burgettstown High School, and he got recruited by Bobby Bowden to go to West Virginia.
Oh, nice.
So he was a split end or wide receiver.
Yeah.
Played for Bobby
Yeah.
Bowden. Down there. So that was my other connection to West Virginia University.
Yeah, you ended up going there. Is that why?
Yeah. Well, I mean, first of all, it was easy to get into. I mean, you're in West Virginia, of course.
Yeah.
But, my brothers and sister had gone there, too, so it was easy to
family
sort of follow
thing.
there.
Yeah.
Did you? Who was your favorite Steeler and Pirate back in the '70s? There?
Yeah, so I would say Pirate was pretty easy. Dave Parker.
Dave Parker.
Really? The Cobra.
Cobra. He could rip.
That arm.
Unbelievable.
Not only the hitting, but the arm and
Yeah.
the fielding. And,
Big dude.
Yeah.
Remember the All-Star game? He threw that ball from the fence.
Oh, yeah, right. That was
All
in
the way.
Seattle. That
Yeah.
was in Seattle, that All-Star game. Yeah. And, so that was easy. Now, in terms of football, it's funny. We were at a bar crawl down in Cannonsburg on Saturday, and they were giving you a number because we ordered some food, right?
Right.
And I was about to reach for a number, all right, and the lady gave me a different number, right? And she gave me 56 while I was reaching for 58.
Oh, you're really
Jack
Jack Lambert.
right.
So my son goes, "Oh, you got Lamar Woodley." I said, "No, I was going for Jack."
Yeah. Or
Isn't that
Robin,
something?
It was
Robin
funny.
Cole.
He literally said Woodley, and I said,
Isn't that something? I mean, I've been like that my whole life, and I'm sure you have too, right? I'm sure
That's how I
all
remember
Pittsburgh
phone numbers.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
People threw Pittsburgh that generation Pittsburgh Steelers football numbers, right?
Yeah, I had to, like on phones, I
Yeah.
would be able to, you have to get the first 3 digits, but then the next 2 would be 2 Steelers typically.
Right,
The next
right.
4 numbers.
Right,
And That's how I always
That's
remember.
definitely a Pittsburgh Steeler fan thing. I'm sure in other cities
Lambert was
too.
hard to beat, though. That guy was insane.
Yeah.
He was so good.
He was my son's favorite, and he never even saw him play.
Yeah,
He just
yeah.
liked the pictures and the toughness of
Who
him.
was your favorite? Just real quick.
Steeler?
Yeah, when we were little.
I would probably say I like Jack Ham for some reason, not because he was from Penn State.
Yeah.
He was just he was a scientist about it.
He was a fundamentalist,
right?
He didn't ever make a mistake.
And Joe Green and Ernie Holmes because he had the cool haircut, and then he shot at helicopters or something. Remember, he had a crazy story.
Yeah, he did. He was nuts.
But there were so many great players. I don't know if I had one special one, but I always did like Jack Ham because my dad would always say, "Look how he tackles. His form perfect." And I said, "Well, yeah, that's it." Right?
He was always in the right spot too. Yeah.
Not a big man when you meet him later on in life.
He's little.
But you didn't ask about the Penguins. I was a Penguins
yeah.
fan
Even back in the 70s when
absolutely,
Yeah.
and
No kidding.
Yeah, but I mean,
they had like Gary Risling and so.
yeah, that little
Baxter. They had no teeth.
My guy was Mike Bullard.
Mike Bullard.
Oh, yeah.
Mike Bully Bullard.
Yeah. So that was my guy, and but I have some stories like when in the arena they built the those overhangs. Section E.
Section E. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's where I was always at up top.
Exactly.
There.
Well, when they built those, it was 79 cents general admission to go to the games.
I know, it's crazy.
So you get there at 6 p.m. when they open that gate because you wanted front row where they shoot twice.
Right. Yeah.
So you're
Run down that
there.
end.
Exactly.
How about that E? I forgot about that. That's why I love doing this because it brings back memories.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like fighting for that E spot down there.
Exactly.
We used to do that too.
Yeah.
Exactly.
79 cents for a Pens game. People will be shocked at that now, right?
Yeah. Oh
my
now
goodness.
it's
General admission.
not the same. Yeah, not the same fans.
That's right.
Yeah.
Now, my memory early there in hockey, I went with the Scouts. I think we went or something.
Boy Scouts.
Yeah, and there was bench seats. They weren't seats.
No, I don't think
This
they
was
were
early.
bench seats.
No, but I know I saw Gretzky the one time. It was a different ball. Everybody's like Gretzky's a great, and he might be because I'm not a hockey nut.
Yeah.
But it was a different game. I remember him standing at the blue line, and he'd just stand at the blue line and let his team play defense and wait for that puck to come shooting down, and he's trying to slam dunk it. You know what I mean? So it was a different sport.
Yeah. No, I don't remember bench seats.
No, there weren't bench seats there.
No.
I can't remember.
But I will tell you,
They were cheap seats.
not
I
only
know that.
did we go
You
early,
probably were up in E.
Right.
afterwards, you go downstairs and you wait for the players.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right?
Yeah, I
If
wasn't
you
that
get
big
an
of a fan.
autograph or whatever, but it wouldn't be those guys walking out with a can of Budweiser in their hand.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Or Orange City.
Well, Budweiser was most of what I saw.
Or Canadian.
too.
What Canadian beer? Moosehead. Because they
That's
were all Canadian then, and very few
Yeah,
Americans.
if you waited down by that where they came, that garage thing.
Exactly.
They came-
Yeah.
That's where we'd go.
Yeah, and they would come out there. That's where I saw Andre the Giant shaking hands with Killer Khan.
Killer Khan and ruined his.
Ruined my
ruined
It's
his.
like they're friends.
Yeah, he ruined his.
ruined my whole thing of studio wrestling.
Yeah.
All the bad guys and good guys got in the same limo with tons
And
of
it
beer.
broke him down. He broke Dubs down.
Here, I thought
I
it
get
was,
it, man.
Yeah, I always thought it was the real deal.
Couldn't sleep for a month.
Ruined me.
I'll tell you, that's another thing. My family loved
Wrestling. Wasn't that just
loved
great?
it. My mom loved it. We'd go over to Steubenville, St. John's Arena.
Yeah.
You'd have Chief Jay Strombo there.
When we were real young, I can remember my uncle. He was just.
Dominic
that's-
Danucci.
I think he
I
probably
love
looked in the mirror 100 times and
But
thought
yeah, he was great, Danucci. Like with his,
Yeah.
he was another expert at moves. You know, like
Yes,
he wasn't
yeah.
strong enough to be like one of these
Right.
maniacs, but he could. He had all the right moves down. You know,
Right.
he could, flip people over his hip and all that, throw people up the
Yeah.
rail. He was perfect.
He was.
Tactician.
My uncle, who is older than us by about 15 years, Bruno Sammartino, was such a hero to so many people in the Pittsburgh area.
He was.
When they go, the greatest wrestler names of all time, and it's like, when they don't bring Bruno up, it's like, you guys missed it. Without Bruno Sammartino, you have no foundation for the sport.
Oh,
Right.
yeah.
No
The
foundation.
McMahon family, that was their ticket, that guy.
Yeah, and I'll tell you, if you knew my uncle, he knew my Uncle Tommy really well. I'm sure a gazillion times he stood in front of that mirror flexing like he was Bruno.
But he was like 5'1".
But he was 5'1", but he thought, but he was
Didn't
Italian.
matter, man.
It didn't matter. He loved Bruno, man.
That was good stuff.
Yep. I can remember that when I was real young. I'd go to, because he was the youngest in his family. I can remember my uncle would be sitting there watching Bruno like all day Saturday. Like whenever it was on, you had to get out of the room.
Oh, it was serious. You had ringside Rosie down there.
Oh, ringside Rosie.
Screaming and yelling and stuff.
But how about 79 cents, right, for hockey tickets?
That's crazy, isn't it? think about it.
Yeah. Did you stick with the Pens the whole way through their big run when they started winning cups and stuff? So did you stay a fan for
Absolutely,
forever?
Yeah. And I still am. I'm going through the pain
right
now.
Yeah.
Know. I actually shared some season tickets.
Yeah.
Okay.
And was able to, obviously split them up among friends and so forth. So, yeah, absolutely. And it's hard for me not to watch hockey.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It's if it's on, I typically want to watch.
Yeah, my brother-in-law's like that,
Yeah.
But he grew up in a town. He grew up in Turtle Creek where the homes are real tight, and they played a lot of hockey in the streets, right?
Yeah, right.
We had a little bit more space.
Yeah.
And we weren't getting 2 sports items a year. We couldn't get a puck and a stick. It was
hockey was definitely off limits for us.
Yeah.
But
I don't know.
The weirdest thing, I had a friend that we were into it when the Penguins stunk. Somehow they had a neighbor or something had tickets to the Igloo. There was the Igloo Club, right?
Yeah.
So I would be an E, and then I would meet them down at the Igloo Club.
And he give you the pass, right?
Yeah. You get in the Igloo
You could go in there and have pop, or you could have, when you're old enough, you had beer and stuff like that.
Right. I remember that too.
Yeah, I really enjoyed that part of it. Because going into the Igloo Club, you got food. And,
we have one of our friends' dads was a guy down there, like everybody else, right? You knew a guy from the neighborhood. One of his dads was an usher, or
and had us away.
Squeaked in somehow.
Yep.
I only went to probably 10 or 15 games after my childhood, during my adulthood. I love hockey. I just don't know why. I just didn't.
I never went to a
stick with it that much.
I never went to a Steeler game until I was working.
Really?
Never.
What I don't like about hockey and definitely the NBA is there's just too much distraction going on when you're there. Mm-hmm. Meaning, I'm here to watch the freaking game.
Well, hockey. You're a hockey player.
And you have all these flashes and the music, and it's just like, hey, settle down.
It is crazy. It's like a Broadway show type thing experience.
When
there's
Vegas,
lights and lasers and stuff.
Right.
I went to see the Pens. I was in Vegas when they were at the same time, and first year they were there, that new stadium, and the show before the hockey game was more impressive than the hockey game. Because usually, not being a hockey person, you go to a hockey game in the first quarter, you're like, holy heck, this is fast. And look at these guys, zing, zong. It kind of amazes you a little bit, right? Well, their show before it.
Well, it's choreographed.
They kill the night.
Yeah,
they have the women with the feathers are all skating around. It's like, whatever.
Well, it's Vegas.
It's like hockey's second to the freaking
entertainment.
Yeah.
But I think that's, I also appreciate it in the sense that they're trying to appeal to the youth.
Right.
Yeah.
Not necessarily us old guys. But so, I get it, but I wish at times it's like, give me a period of just quiet. Other than you hear the crowd.
Right.
Right.
Oh, yeah, all that watching that sports has come a long way. I do like watching all the snow games that have been happening, how they can take away the snow and show you every 10-yard line with the numbers on it. So some of that tech makes it nicer to watch the games, right?
Yeah, did you watch that game last night?
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched half of it. It was really good. Yeah,
it's interesting. And the Steelers in the snow last week against Cleveland. We don't want to go into depth about that. No, but they looked damn good this weekend.
They did. The offense was there, It was good.
Yeah, they were. They tightened up the defense. I think they could do something here. It's weird. We're usually good defensively, and now it seems like we're going to need to score 35. All of a sudden. That's weird.
Yeah.
I did want to ask him one question about church.
Go ahead about church. Church is great.
When you were a kid, was that a huge part of your life?
Absolutely.
The Greek Orthodox Church?
Absolutely.
Was it?
Yeah.
Of course, you're an altar boy.
Yeah.
All the kids did it. And
I did it.
Yeah, it was a cool thing. Now, you weren't always there. Sometimes you're working at the restaurant and you're not an altar boy on that Sunday. But absolutely. And the Greek church had a lot of youth activities. Mm-hmm. We'd have basketball tournaments where you're playing against other Greek churches, in Akron or Steubenville or Canton. So, you had these regional tournaments. So
I played for Immaculate Conception Church.
Oh, yeah?
When mine's little, yeah.
Absolutely. So it got the youth involved, Yeah. And we'd have picnics. And, the other thing we did is, you have like Greek Independence Day, in March, and all the kids would sing patriotic songs. So there was a lot of activity.
And when you were young, it was mostly all Greeks at that point. It's changed quite a bit now.
It has.
More
it has.
broad.
And you still have kids that know how to do it. But meaning speak Greek and so forth.
And where was your church?
In Weirton.
You had a Greek church?
Yeah, Weirton All Saints Church. Yeah.
Okay,
It's a great church, and the decorations there are just incredible.
Yeah, amazing, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah. So Eli, before you leave, I just want to ask you, question about growing up. Like some of the stories that you told us and experiences that you had. What can you take from that led to your success in business? You've had a real big career with Phillips, and I don't know, did you work anywhere else besides Phillips in your day? But
Respironics before it was Phillips for you Pittsburgh folks, right?
Yeah.
Respironics.
But out of college, I worked with Coca-Cola.
Coca-Cola. Yeah. So you've had a nice, steady rise within, business. What do you think from your childhood, some of the takeaways that you had that led to your success in business here in the States?
And appreciate the question. And what I would say are two things. Foremost is the fact that you're working in a restaurant. You had to communicate with customers.
Yeah.
And that ability to talk to anybody, whether it was to, just be respectful or chit chat or hey, they need something, right? Yeah. And I thought, that really allowed me to then translate into talking with anybody in business, and as a manufacturing engineer to talk to a production worker or a janitor or, a leader. I think the ability to communicate and what I learned there was critical in terms of being able to listen and communicate. Right?
Yeah. When you're in a restaurant, you got to, and especially when you own it, your parents own it, right? You got to make everybody feel welcome.
Absolutely.
And you have that kind of personality for sure.
You're having a bad day, you can't show it.
Right. Yeah, right.
Everybody's a patron.
Exactly. Yeah. And then the second thing is that, in the restaurant, you did it all. One day you're a dishwasher, the next day you're a mopper of the floor. You're a cashier, busboy, short order cook. So what that led to is the job needed to get done, right? And I think to me, as I became, got more progressive in terms of different positions, I translated that to the job needed to get done and always needing to lean in, and not, I say always, but hey, a job needed to get done. And sometimes you're helping review something. Sometimes you're doing something that you normally are not doing, but the result needed to get done. And
execution.
Absolutely. So I think those two things, the communication and, being whatever you needed to be to help get the result.
Yeah. Now, when you were talking earlier about, back when you were 7 years old and you came to the country, you mentioned that you had to sit back a little bit and listen a lot more, not only maybe just to understand the language, but the culture and, body language. You had to pick up on a lot of cues that made you a strong communicator. And I think your first mention here was that, communication is a key driver to your success. I think that folks that come here with English not being their first language, you have to be really, really good listeners in order to be able to interact at a high level.
Right.
So you learn that from a young age.
You learn that from a young age.
She's 6, 7 years old, right?
Of course, and I think it just happened. It wasn't that something I looked for, right?
No. It wasn't conscious.
It wasn't conscious, right?
But if you think about it, there would have been no other way for you to matriculate as well as you did, as quickly as you did, by not spending most of your time listening before you chose what to say. That processing
what your response
piece.
Would be.
Right.
Because you're processing a couple different things there, not just language.
Right.
You're trying to figure out what does that really mean from their facial expression. What does that really mean from...
Yeah, you're reading a lot there, right? You're reading a lot.
Yeah. So that...
I
find that very interesting.
Yeah. It's a good observation.
And I do think it's great about this country. You wonder why we succeed so much globally.
Yeah.
It's all these different people
that
come together.
That dynamic, right?
That are really diverse, right? Mm-hmm. That had enough respect for one another.
Yeah.
To actually hear them out.
Right.
And use their strengths and our strengths collectively to produce something spectacular.
Yeah.
And if you think about the people that want to come here, you have to ask the question, do they have ambition? Of course they do.
Yes.
Right?
They don't want to.
Yeah. And those, not to the people that remain behind don't have ambition, but somebody's risk taking to do this, right?
Yeah.
Even today, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. And you got to give them credit. They're trying to do something better
For their family.
For their
That's
family.
right. They're pioneering.
And we need to be
things.
respectful of
Yes.
that.
Yeah, when you
because,
see families coming over, especially, I see that and go,
Yes.
oh my God, you got to be respectful. And I think as a country, we owe them an organized way to be successful.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's exactly
Because you
right.
can't just bring folks here and just say, hey, good luck.
Yeah, it's like
Right.
There has to be some sort of
Right.
flow and development
Yeah.
that gives them the true opportunity that exists here.
And what you just brought up, Chris, is when you do it organized like that, we all benefit from them getting, moving that ball a little further because they're coming with different perspectives, and we learn from that and develop products and things that are just much better in the world.
Well, it's funny because that's what we are.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
True.
So why would we not want what we are?
Right.
I think we could do a little bit better job of help facilitating it so that people
Yeah.
get a fighting chance.
Right.
With the technology and the wealth that we have here now. We could probably be a little
More organized.
on what. how
Yeah,
we
and I think
handle
we'll benefit from it quicker.
One last thing in terms of, that, coming here and, the technology. So my son Giorgio, one of the things he did as a little project in high school was he researched and found my dad's signature on an Ellis Island logbook.
That's
Wow,
fantastic.
that's
And I have that framed at
That is unbelievable.
really cool.
That
And
is
he
really cool.
literally found it, gave it to me.
So your dad came through Ellis Island?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool.
It is cool.
it is cool.
Yep.
So it's out there, but
yeah.
do it in a way that
Yeah. And we
supposed to
benefit
be.
quicker from that.
Absolutely.
If you create a system to develop that, we get those ideas a lot quicker than what we're doing right now. Yeah. It's
And
good
I
stuff.
think that before the communities did it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The Greek lived
Yeah.
in a certain area, Italians, and
Right.
they helped facilitate.
That's right.
But now that's all been spread out.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
a
Right?
good point, Chris.
So we have to do it. I hate to say, but we have to do it organizationally from government or what have you, because we're not little communities anymore.
Yeah.
Right.
So we got to get
Condensed.
organized.
We're not condensed, we're
anymore.
spread.
Yeah, we gotta get organized.
As we're spread out, we got to get organized here and try to keep that at our focal point because it's what drove us.
Yeah, it's what makes
Yeah,
America
make us
great,
great.
man.
Yeah.
There's always a new idea out of America. Always leading.
Yep.
So,
And
good
that's what-
stuff.
All right. Well, hey, thank you,
Fantastic.
Eli,
It was
fantastic,
Really
my
nice
friend.
talking to you.
Thank you.
Good to meet you today. Thank
Yes,
you.
definitely.